What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another edition of the Overrated Pod. It's your boy Ant here with my brother Dallin, as usual. Ready to get some picks and predictions for this week college football games. Week 13, and a lot on the line.
A couple weeks left.
Couple weeks left. I'm excited. This 12-team college football playoff has been perfect for me, personally. I like it. Better than a 4-team. I know people out there don't like it, but it is what it is. If you're new to the channel, or if you're a returning user, as always, please like, comment, and subscribe underneath. We appreciate it. I don't think you understand how much we appreciate the love and support.
Well, love the support.
So if we can just keep that going, keep that rolling. We shooting a episode pretty early. It's kind of weird on this Thursday.
Man, it's still dark outside.
Well,
yeah, it's dark.
Make sure you guys hit that bell so you don't miss when we drop this content. We dropping heat. Before we get started with our picks and predictions, if you do follow the college football world, which I'm guessing you do if you had the time to click on a little podcast like ours, Julian Lewis, the number 2 recruit, decommits from USC, commits to Colorado today. So clap it up for Coach Prime in Colorado for pulling another big recruit. Coach Prime is known for this. I mean, he got Travis Hunter, the number 1 overall recruit, to flip his commitment to Florida State to Jackson State. And now he gets Julian Lewis to flip his commitment from USC to Colorado. That's big. Another commit that just flipped recently. Breaking news. Bryce Underwood, the number 1 overall recruit, commits to Michigan after decommitting to LSU this week. So two programs get some big talent going into this episode. But that's next year. We're talking about week 13 today, and Julian Lewis and Bryce Underwood can't help the teams that they just committed to win today's or this week's football game. So let's get into it. We want to start off with the game of the week. College game day will be in Ohio State for number 5 Indiana at number 2 Ohio State. One of the biggest games in the Big Ten this year. Ohio State's favored by 11.5 points against a top 5 Indiana team. What's your thoughts on this, Dallin?
Do you really want to talk about how Ohio State's been playing for like the past 2-3 weeks? They've been, escaping by little hairs on the skin. And my prediction really is I'm going with this in Columbus. So I'll go with Indiana. They'll probably win by at least a touchdown. It'd be close. I'd say let's say 28-21.
28-21 Indiana.
Yeah. Because you gotta look at it like this. Indiana got a good defense. They've been not only blowing teams out, but they've shut down teams as well. Even though they haven't for real played anybody, being ranked at 5 is kind of high if you really want to go with the cupcake schedule they have. But this is their week of true test.
Yeah. We talk about cupcake schedules, and people are going to say it for teams like BYU and Colorado, Indiana. Indiana's in the Big Ten, right? And it's not their fault that when the schedule makers were making schedules last year, they put Michigan and Washington, 2 teams that were in a national championship game last year, on Indiana's schedule, thinking they were going to be hot garbage by this time this year.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not Indiana's fault that they got blessed with a couple teams that weren't great. I mean, Nebraska, right? They started the season off, 5-1?
Yeah, they did.
So a couple weeks ago, we thought the Nebraska game would be a good challenge for Indiana. They ended up blowing them out 56-7. And then, Michigan, they ain't been the same because they don't have a passing game. And then Washington, no one thought when they created the schedule that Nick Saban would retire from Alabama and Kalen DeBoer would take his talents over there and leave Washington high and dry this season. So, in Indiana's defense, when the schedule was being made and they were preparing for the schedule last year after their last game of the season, off season, they weren't expecting Michigan, Washington, Nebraska even after getting the number one quarterback to commit to their university in Dylan Raiola. And to be trash. They were expecting those teams to be great. Two of those teams played in the college football playoffs last year, so here it is.
Well, with that transfer portal, anything can happen.
Yep. And we're about to figure out how great Indiana truly is. Because someone told me Indiana is a Power 4 program with a Group of 5 roster. Because of Curtis Ward, who was a transfer from Ohio, and not Ohio State, Ohio Bobcats, and they have 13 to 16 JMU transfers in the starting lineup.
Yeah.
So I think they're better. I think they're better than people give them credit. I do think they're a top 10 team. I do think they might even be a top 5 team. But there's a difference between being a good college football team and being a great college football team. And it's really hard to predict if Indiana's going to be great because they haven't played anybody that is great, if that makes sense. I'm going with Ohio State at home. 11.5 is disrespectful to Indiana. So I'm going Ohio State wins this game 31-28. And Indiana covers. That's my prediction.
If Indiana loses this week, they're not making the playoffs. Even
I
with
think
one
that's the
loss,
case.
I just don't think they're gonna make it.
I don't think that's the case. But then who knows, right? Who knows? Because if you say that Indiana shouldn't make it because of a loss to Ohio State, then if Texas loses next week to Texas A&M, they also should not make the college football playoffs by standards because Texas' schedule is just as weak, and their one loss would be to the only ranked opponents they played too.
Yeah, so with that as well, Texas shouldn't be ranked. What they had 4 or 3? Yeah, they should be ranked at 3. Yeah, you can give it a take the roster they have, things of that nature. But it's also the fact that their only ranked opponent they play was who they play? Was it Clemson or was that Georgia?
Georgia, and they got spanked at home.
Who did Texas play earlier in the season?
Texas played Georgia, and they got spanked at home by Georgia 31-15.
Talking about early in the season.
Oh, Michigan. But Michigan
Michigan, that's what it was.
Graded.
But yeah, they played Michigan. That's literally the only.
But as we see now, back then in week 2 when they played Michigan, we thought that was a massive game. Now, Michigan is a team you're supposed to beat in the Big Ten. So
and then it's every win they had, if you go back and look at that team's record and who they played and lost to, those wins really don't matter. We'll be quite frankly honest. They beat Vanderbilt. Yeah, they beat Bama, and then that's pretty much the only right win they have. Michigan don't have any. They're below 500 at this point. In Oklahoma, we're not really talking about y'all. Y'all below.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Y'all below 500 as well. But at the same time, it's y'all. They just literally have easy schedule, cupcake schedules, and then towards the end play Georgia. Then you also got Texas A&M even games they supposed to be blowing teams out, they're barely winning. They're winning like 10 points, maybe a touchdown or 3. Just
Yeah, I mean, like if you will look at Indiana's schedule, like let's I want you to go back, Dallin, and try to go back to you just watch Michigan win the national championship against Washington, right? Go back to that day, and then let's say we're having a conversation after that game, and I tell you, hey, Indiana next year schedule is going to look like this with the new realignment. They're going to play UCLA, Nebraska, Washington, Michigan, and Ohio State next year. You would tell me what? Like right after the national championship game.
they're gonna have a pretty hard schedule.
Yes, exactly. So it isn't like to me, it isn't their fault. But then I'm gonna do the same logic with Texas. Now, hear me out. Right after Texas loses to Washington in a playoff game, right? Last year, I want you to go back to that day, and we're gonna do the same thing with Texas' schedule. Let me find Texas. Sorry, let me find a little. There you go. I got it. So let's say I'm gonna say Texas plays Michigan, Oklahoma, Georgia, Vanderbilt, Florida, Arkansas, Kentucky, Texas A&M.
And out of all those people you name, you only literally name like 2 hard opponents. 2 true hard opponents.
Because in your eyes, only because we watched the national championship, you would assume that Michigan and Georgia is the only competition on that schedule.
Right.
So now we fast forward to week 13, and essentially Georgia is the only hard team that Texas has played all year. And they lost that game 30-15. And then Indiana's hardest game is this week against Ohio State. And some can argue that Georgia and Ohio State are 2 teams on the same tier. So now you're ranking the rest of the schedule.
Yeah, you can give or take that because nobody really predicted Jim Harbaugh going back to the NFL, going to the Chargers.
Exactly.
And then also with
no one predicted Kalen DeBoer going to Alabama.
Yeah, so nobody really thought that because we thought his coaching job at Washington was solidified after they just went to the national championship.
Now, some people may say, well, Texas is in the SEC, and they will have to play Kentucky, Arkansas, Vanderbilt, which no one's scared of Vandy, not before we saw what they did this year, and Florida. You would assume, or in Oklahoma, which if you're an Oklahoma or Texas fan, prior to that game, Red River Shootout, you never know who wins that mother. Like Texas can be the best team in the road and still lose Oklahoma in the Red River. So you could assume preseason that just because they're in the SEC, their schedule is harder. But I hate that logic because, like I said on multiple occasions, just because the top end of a conference is great does not mean the back end of the conference is good. Georgia can be so great and Alabama can be so great, but Kentucky, A&M, Arkansas, Florida, Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, Mississippi State, they can all be mid. Like, they can all be whatever teams that can get beat by any other Big 12 or Big 10 opponent, ACC opponent. So, whatever. Yeah. We'll move on. Since we're already talking about Texas, we'll move on to their game. Kentucky.
You take Ohio State?
I took Ohio State, yeah. 31-28. I think Indiana covers. All right. So moving on to this Kentucky and Texas game. Texas is favored by 21 points. They're favored by 3 touchdowns against Kentucky. I think that's a little disrespectful to Kentucky, who has been known to give every tough opponent a run for their money. We've seen it against Georgia where they almost beat Georgia. They lost 13-12. They beat Ole Miss. So I think Kentucky can compete, and they're going to make life hard on Texas. I don't know if 21 points is great, but let's just hope Texas isn't looking ahead to Texas A&M because we know that game is big next week. But this is a trap game. This is a trap game for Texas.
It most definitely is. Given the fact that we just seen Arkansas hold Texas 20 points, and we know how bad they are. Kentucky has a really good chance of beating Texas at home
I mean, yeah.
because even with Texas playing SEC opponents, they really don't have that big of a point differentials when they go to conference play. Their biggest blowout was against Florida, and Florida's terrible.
No, I will say this: Kentucky isn't winning games. Like they're
They're
not
winning some
winning
games.
football games. But you lose to Georgia by 1 point. You beat Ole Miss by a field goal. You lose to Vanderbilt by a touchdown. You hang in there with Tennessee, and it wasn't for a late touchdown by Tennessee. You were also down 3 in a fourth quarter of that game. So like, you know what I mean? Like Kentucky's defense is good. They're no pushover. They're going to compete. I think that they are a 4-win team. So they want to make a bowl game. They're going to have to beat Texas and Louisville in these next 2 weeks, which it ain't going to look that great. It don't look like it's going to happen. But they're going to come out with fire, basically, knowing that they have an opportunity to make a bowl game if they just knock off Texas.
I'm not trying to sit here and be biased with Texas, but even with Texas just playing their schedule, and then they get to SEC opponents, and with Quinn Ewers having that career day, he threw 5 touchdowns, came back to Arkansas and throw what 2? He threw 2 touchdowns that game. Yeah, he threw 2 touchdowns a game, and he had completed 12 passes. If you really want to sit here and talk about it, I think Kentucky has a better defense than Arkansas. Have they played them this year? No, they haven't. So my thing is with Texas, I want to take Kentucky. I really do. It's called if Kentucky wins, they're only going to win by at least 3 points. I think they can go in there and do an upset. But Texas also fighting for a college playoff hopes. And once again, if they do look forward to next week, Texas A&M, and not focus on this week, yeah, they're going to get shocked. Because it's really only up to if Kentucky can get their offense to show up consistently instead of just only their damn defense. That's it.
Yeah, and the offense has not shown up against a true FBS opponent. I mean, like against Murray State, they dropped 48. Against Southern Miss, they dropped 31. Against Ohio, they dropped 41. But they haven't scored more than 20 points against SEC opponents. So Kentucky's going to have a hard time beating Texas if they can't put up at least 20 points. So they got to put up at least 3 touchdowns to beat Texas, like at least.
If it's the Kentucky that showed up against Ole Miss, then they have a very well chance of beating Texas. But if it's not, if it's the ones that showed up against, I'd say, no, not even Georgia because they only lost
South Carolina.
South Carolina. Then Texas is blowing them out.
Yeah. And truth be told, South Carolina's good.
Yeah. Right. I'll take South Carolina over Texas. They played.
Yeah, I just might take South Carolina. They're rolling, and I'm gonna make my pick. I think Kentucky keeps it closer than 21 points. I don't think they get blown out by 21 points or more. I do think Texas wins this game. I'm going 28-10, 28-15, maybe. 28-15. I'm going 28-15 Texas, but Kentucky covers the 21.5 or 21.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Texas as well. Kentucky probably will keep it close. I'm just hoping that offense will show up. So I'll probably get them winning by at least 3 points. I say 31-28.
31-28. All right. We'll move on to the next game on our bracket. And I just want to get this game over with because, truth be told, I'm not happy to be where we are right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Number 7, Alabama at Norman, Oklahoma. Alabama's favored by 2 touchdowns against Oklahoma. little disrespectful to our defense, who I feel like is one of the best defenses in the SEC. We just don't have offensive gameplay. I don't know what you want from me. Our offense can't score 15 points. So
it's like a tough
tough
role y'all finna have this
we got
weekend.
Danny Stutzman out there with 19 tackles in a game. But he got more tackles than we got points every week. So
exactly, because y'all offense can't stay on the field.
I think we were demoralized when we lost that game to Missouri. Like, essentially. Like, we knew our season was over and we were just going to play for a bowl game at that point. But you go to Missouri and you give up 2 touchdowns in the span of 37 seconds to lose that game because Jackson Arnold doesn't know pocket awareness and ball security late in games. I've been pampered these last 10 to 15 years, huh? Watching Oklahoma with Kyler Murray and Baker Mayfield, D.D. Westbrook.
That Big 12 or Big 10 conference gave you
Big
a little
12
too much
championship games, beating Texas up. We had Dylan Gabriel last year, still with an 8-win team.
I told you y'all didn't want to come over here. Y'all didn't.
Man, it ain't the SEC.
Yeah, it is. Y'all didn't want to come over here. Y'all didn't want this.
It ain't the SEC. It's Lincoln Riley.
Y'all ain't prepared for this road. Y'all not ready for that. Texas is only prepared for it because they always got the big recruits over it when it was in a different conference.
Right. We are 4-win team.
Yeah, I think.
Not to mention, kudos to my team. All right, kudos to Oklahoma. If we're really going to talk about getting a full SEC experience, we went into our first year in the SEC and decided we ain't ducking no smoke. We want Tennessee, Auburn, Texas, South Carolina, Ole Miss, Missouri, Alabama, and LSU on our schedule. The only team we ain't play is Georgia. So,
how many wins y'all got out of that?
5, 4. Listen, we're 1-5 in SEC play.
1-5 in SEC play. That's terrible.
The only win we have is against Auburn. In Auburn.
Yeah, y'all a little bottom of the pack.
So we're a 5-win team, though.
It's the fact that y'all only beat Houston by 4 points.
Yeah, listen, we're a 5-win team, and that's why I put this game on the list today. Because yes, Alabama is playing for playoff hopes. They control their own destiny for the SEC championship game. If they just went out, I feel like they're going to make the SEC championship game. Oklahoma has 2 shots, one at home against Alabama and one in Death Valley against LSU to win 1 game to be bowl eligible. 1 game. Somebody gonna get got. That's where I'm at with it.
Y'all got a better chance to be. Y'all got a better chance to be.
Somebody gonna get got. Alabama better come in here on their A game in Norman, Oklahoma, because the fans are going to show up because they know it. They know that they only need 1 game. It's a top 10 opponent. Alabama is the reason why Oklahoma wanted SEC smoke, because for a long time, Oklahoma was running the Big 12, and the only way that we were getting sent home in the college football playoffs was by the hand of Georgia.
Hey, how you doing?
And Nicholas Saban. And he ain't there no more. So we decided we want some of that Kalen DeBoer smoke. Well, no, we don't. Because we about to get ran through on Saturday.
Yeah. Our defense is now. They woke up now.
Because Brett Venables, you should have put Alabama or asked for Alabama on your schedule week 3, 4, 5 when they lost to Vanderbilt Right after that game is when we won at Alabama.
Hey, I got a quick question. Y'all O-line healthy?
No.
Yeah, it's over. You might as well tell Jackson Arnold to go and put like a
Yeah.
cast on or something.
So that's another thing about Oklahoma right now. We have not played one game this year with the projected starting 5 offensive linemen. We have not played one game this year with our projected wide receiving starting unit. We have like 5 injuries in the wide receiver room. It's crazy. And then on top of all of that, we have a 5-star quarterback who's playing like a 2-star.
Who, Jackson? Jackson's 5-star?
Oh yeah.
Where?
Jackson Arnold is not only the 5-star, one of the highest rated high school quarterbacks coming out of last year's class.
Since when?
What? You're not watching?
No, not the way y'all been playing.
See, Jackson, this is what happens. This is what happens when you're hot shit and you play like hot shit.
So you already know I'm going Bama, and we're going blowout at home. I don't care what you're talking about. Well, then we're gonna go past that spread. We're gonna shoot for at least about 42, 14. I give you 2 touchdowns. I ain't gonna be disrespectful.
Nah.
I get 2. You get 1 or 2, just 1 probably.
Listen,
the way your line out there, and then you ain't got no receivers either. We got our defense is healthy, and if you ain't got Deion Burks, I don't stand a chance.
We need one game to be bowl eligible.
Like I said, yeah, I got a better chance to be there with you. Yeah, I got a chance to be there.
I made a bet with my friend Joey to start this season way before Kalen DeBoer, or right after Kalen DeBoer took the job at Oklahoma. I said that Oklahoma was going to win in that battle against Alabama. Kind of regret saying that, seeing how the season has unfolded. But with that being said, I haven't picked Oklahoma to win a single football game since Texas.
Don't do it this week.
Since Texas. I'm going with Oklahoma for the upset to become bowl eligible and knock Alabama out of playoff conversation with a very close win, 34-35 over Alabama and Norman, Oklahoma. Go Boomer Sooners. Moving on.
Yeah, let's go ahead and move on because we have to get deep dive into this whole conversation.
All right, moving on. We're gonna get into the fun. We're gonna get into the fun games of the weekend because I feel like all the games that we discussed besides Ohio State and Indiana are not going to be great football games, truthfully. But then we start getting into the good ones. Number 14 BYU at number 21 Arizona State University. Arizona State wins this game, and they are Big 12 championship
bound.
Because
they'll push BYU behind them.
Yep. They'll push BYU behind them, and the only team that'll be behind is Colorado, barring a Colorado win in Kansas.
They win, Colorado be 1, then they'll move up to 2.
Yep. And I believe if Arizona State wins, Colorado wins, and Utah beats Kansas State this week.
Do they play Kansas this week?
They play Kansas State this week. If Utah beats Kansas State, then our Big 12 championship is set. So
even if Kansas, go ahead.
If Colorado wins their football game against Kansas, and Arizona State beats BYU, and Utah beats Kansas State, then Arizona State, Colorado is locked for the Big 12 championship game. So we can find out who our Big 12 champions are, or championship game will be this week. If BYU, Colorado, and Utah win, then BYU and Colorado is locked for the playoff game. So if you're a Colorado fan, you don't give a fluff what happens between BYU and Arizona State. All you care about is if Utah is going to beat Kansas State, because essentially you win and Utah wins and you're in.
So Utah don't play Kansas State; they play Iowa State. That's who they need to beat.
Iowa State. Yeah,
Utah got to beat Utah got to
Yeah.
beat Iowa State.
Yeah, so basically Iowa State, Arizona State, BYU, or not BYU, Arizona State, Iowa State are all 2-loss teams with playoff or with Big 12 championship hopes still.
Yeah.
Those 2-loss teams lose, Colorado is booked. Along with the winner of this BYU and Arizona State game. So this is good. This is good. Just Kenny Dillingham, which is a Coach of the Year candidate, along with Kurt Cignetti and Deion Sanders. He's playing. You have this team playing hot football right now when it matters most. And this is why I love the 12-team college football playoffs, because I'm a football fan. I'm a college football fan. And who would have thought that Arizona State would be in the college football playoff rankings, let alone having a chance to actually make it this year, barring they beat BYU and went out.
Man, I ain't heard nothing about Arizona State since Jaden Daniels. I promise you.
And they weren't even great that year. Jaden Daniels just led them to beating Justin Herbert's Oregon Ducks.
Yeah, Jaden Daniels, that whole entire team.
So, whoa. They had that one 49er receiver there.
Who? Ricky Pearsall?
No. The best 49er receiver.
Oh, you're talking about Ayuk.
Yes, Brandon Ayuk.
But without Jaden Daniels, what are you going to do?
He was going to do a lot.
No.
Jaden Daniels was a true freshman. All right? And he was fire. He was fire.
Throwing dimes as a freshman.
Yeah,
you put anybody else over there.
He was good. He was good. But also, Arizona State hated Jaden Daniels. They thought he was trash. Have you seen that viral video of Jaden Daniels transferring to LSU and he was cleaning out his locker and someone's recording him like, yeah, he cleaned out his locker. He was trash anyway. Well, whoever that guy is, you're fucking stupid. Because Jaden Daniels won a Heisman Trophy at LSU, and now he's about to win Rookie of the Year in the NFL and possibly be a top 5 finalist for the MVP.
Yeah, I was about to say that. And
so that's
the Commanders to the playoffs too, which they haven't touched the playoffs.
So that's crazy. You know what's crazy? Last year we watched CJ Stroud win Rookie of the Year and have this amazing rookie season, and we thought CJ Stroud was one of the best rookie quarterbacks we ever seen. And then this guy, Jaden Daniels, comes and he's like, "Oh, hold my beer," because you thought you saw something with CJ Stroud. Nah, this is football. This is football. This is why I love football. This is why I love college football, because this is where it starts.
Yeah, tough road because you got to win that division with the Eagles in it. It's literally just him and the Eagles, the Cowboys, the Giants.
I think the Commanders are still.
The Eagles just beat the Commanders. I don't know if they play again. I don't know. I think that might have been the first meeting.
I think they do play again. They control their own destiny. They just got to win out, like BYU and Arizona State. So,
I got Arizona State.
But by the way, I didn't say this, but Arizona State is favored at home by 1 point.
I got Arizona State 28-14. I don't know 1 point.
I think this game, for some odd reason, is going to be low scoring.
It is low scoring.
I'm going with, and as hot as Arizona State is,
with
Scatterbo back, yeah, and they got that one quarterback, that transfer quarterback.
Yeah, Levis.
Yeah, Levis playing incredible.
Yeah.
I just think that, we watched BYU all year win these one-score games, and we're like, your luck's going to run out. Like, kind of like we did with Miami, and it finally did. Just like Miami's did. It finally ran out, and they got. I just don't think they're going to get got twice. So, I'm going with BYU 17-21 with a win in Arizona State to book their ticket to the Big 12 championship game.
We literally just seen their whole entire team get exposed by Kansas. Not Kansas. Who they play? Yeah, it was Kansas.
Kansas is good, though.
Yeah, they're good. And you were acting like Arizona State's not good. Their defense is tough. Their offense is tough.
The problem is when you put
you thought they was going to lose because Scatbo wasn't back, but is that he's back. He's tough at running. You coming from a running back. He's
Listen,
not going down.
it's just a coin flip at this point. I think both of these teams are evenly matched. I think Arizona State just has. I mean, even with home field advantage, they just have the unfortunate circumstance of a BYU team that just came off of a loss, and I don't think they're going to want to lose another game. So,
Did you not just see them beat Utah at home? Did you not see how that crowd was? Do you not realize with them knowing that if they beat BYU, they can make the Big Ten championship and play
Big 12.
Colorado?
Yeah.
Or Big 12 championship and play Colorado. Do you not understand that them fans are going to give them the most momentum in that entire game?
I agree.
Every touchdown, them lights are going off.
I agree.
That crowd is shaking that whole entire stadium.
I agree. It's going to be a hell of a game.
And they play at 2:30.
Wins.
They play at 2:30.
I won't be watching it. I mean, I'll be trying to watch it, but
I'm watching it.
But this next game, oh, by the way, 21-17, my score, 1.5, like 1 point cover. Like everyone's going to score more than that. So just take BYU.
Dude, I'm not doing that.
Next game is also a 2:30 game, which I will have my eyes glued to the screen to watch. Number 16, Colorado, favored by 2.5 points at Kansas. What are we doing? Are we not watching Colorado football this year?
No, we are. We most definitely is.
Are we not seeing that this defense, since Kansas State lost, is top 3 in pressure, top 3 in sacks? Are we not seeing that they have a top 25 pass coverage grade? Are we not seeing that they have possibly the number 1 receiving room in college football, with the number 1 quarterback in college football, the number 1 player in college football, or the fact that their offensive line is playing incredible?
What about that run? What about that run defense?
Oh yeah. Are we not seeing that they have a top 15 run stop rate? And it don't matter if you put Bernard, the Utah running back, in front of them, or if you put Devin Neal this week in front of them. I watched the interview with Warren Sapp in the DNVR Colorado, and I mean,
Warren Sapp as a coach is insane.
Warren Sapp's already scary. Like if you watch NFL football, you know Warren Sapp he's a hunter, and his main objective is to hurt the quarterback. And he got every single person on that front 7 with the same mindset as him. Like, who you want to hit you? Because it's going to be me. It's going to be Hill Green. It's going to be Silman Craig. It's going to be Shiloh off the edge. Who you want? Because we going to get to you somehow. I mean, God. Colorado's nice. And then, like, on top of that, Kansas' whole offense is predicated on running the football and throwing deep passes down the field. Well, Colorado this year is top 15 on coverage down the field, which means I think they only allowed 13 big time throws all year. 6 of them being last week against Utah. So before that Utah game, Colorado's only allowed 7 big time throws. That's throws of 25 plus yards down the field. They only allowed 7. Travis Hunter, Preston Hodge, DJ McKinney, Colton Hood, they play defense and a lot of man. So they're doing it in man coverage. They're not doing it in zone. They're doing it in man coverage.
Kansas ain't got a chance to stay in this week.
The only thing I'm excited about this game for is, one, I'm excited to see Kobe Bryant versus Travis Hunter, because we know Kobe Bryant's one of the best defensive backs in the nation.
Cooked.
Yeah.
Cool.
And also like this could be a big game for Travis, because Jalen Daniels is a turnover prone quarterback, and he's like I'm gonna take a shot type of quarterback. You know what I mean?
He's like a black Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, More like
he's a black Aaron Rodgers who was screaming.
Not Aaron Rodgers, more like Brett Favre. Like he's gonna sling it, and if it's a pick, it's a pick, and if it's a touchdown, it's a touchdown. But I'm gonna throw that fade route. Well, I'm seeing that he's gonna think that he can test Travis Hunter a lot this week. That's a bad idea.
Travis getting at least about 2-3 picks.
He might get 2 or 3 picks.
If he get 1, he's definitely gonna get 2.
So
I don't think after 2 of them, I don't think Jalen will throw his way no more.
I just want to know if Preston Hodge is going to be back this week because
even if he's not, I still think they third string corner is still going to be good enough.
And I also want to know if Jimmy Horn's going to be back this week.
Still not worried about it because they still got Amarion Miller. What's it? LaJohntay Wester. Who's that other Miller kid? Draylon Miller. Like I'm even if Jimmy Horn's not back, you still got Travis. You got the rest of them boys. You probably got another Jim just hiding, waiting for a chance.
Yeah, I'm looking at this article right now. So Michael Welch, which is their freshman running back we haven't seen for a while, but number 29 stocky running back that scored a lot of their touchdowns early out this year on the ground. He's projected to be back this week. Against Kansas. And then Dion says, we don't know. Hopefully Jimmy can work on Wednesday or today. I don't give a darn if Jimmy works Friday. If he showed me he can run, he's going to play. So that's what Dion said. Dion said if he can run, even if he doesn't practice on Friday, even if he doesn't practice on Thursday, if he practices Wednesday and he can run, he's going to play. That's what he says. So he's still questionable.
We got an ankle injury?
Yeah, high ankle sprain from the tortillas that was thrown at Texas Tech.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should get fined for that.
I've never known a team to just be okay, or a crowd or referees to just be okay with trash and tortillas being thrown on the field.
Every time somebody did that back in the past, they gave him about 15 yards just off of it.
Yeah,
because even a coach, I don't remember what game it was, but a coach came in, said, I think it's once or twice that they got penalized for 15 yards for fans doing stuff like that.
I mean, Texas Tech coach should have to go on the mic and say, hey, stop throwing stuff. They're going to penalize us. So
they should have been penalized instead of they going to. But I got Colorado 35. Jalen Daniels, he trying to the ball a lot. I say 35-17. I think Colorado gonna be dominant because they're still hungry and they're fighting. They're trying to make that playoffs. When's the last time you seen Colorado being ranked 16? Ranked at all?
Yeah. Yep. If I have to give my prediction on this game, it's hard to say Colorado won't blow out Kansas. Like, they just score at ease. I'm going 42-21 Colorado.
That's the last one? We got one more, don't we?
We got one more after this.
No. All right, no.
You about to try to go with Kansas there?
No, I'm not going with Kansas. I'm talking about for this next one. Just I already know the answer for this one. If you choose anybody else other than this, you're just retarded.
All right, let's get into it. Number 20 Army at number 6 Notre Dame. Notre Dame favored by 15.5. This game is at. Oh, by the way, Colorado and Kansas is not at Kansas.
It's not at Kansas? Where's it?
No, it's at Arrowhead, Kansas City. So they're playing in Kansas City at Arrowhead Stadium where the Chiefs play.
Oh.
It's still technically a Kansas home game because their school is going to. It's
it's
still a home, but like they're playing on the NFL field.
But we already know what Colorado does when they on the road, though. They I don't think they lost any games on the road. No, they did. They lost to Kansas State on the road, didn't they?
No, they lost to Nebraska on the road. They lost to Kansas State at home.
Oh, okay.
My point is they don't keep games close on the road though.
No, not at all.
Like since Nebraska, they've won by 2 touchdowns on every road visit.
Yeah, they'll take the life out of the crowd real quick.
But at home, I had my nervous feelings up until Utah. Remember, I was telling you, beat Baylor, close win at home.
Oh yeah,
Kansas State, close loss at home. South Dakota or North Dakota State, they won close at home. So like to me, at home they get like all the celebrities on the side, and they don't play that well. Well, they changed that against Utah, and I love Colorado on the road. I think the defense gets hungrier on the road. They hear the disrespect. Travis Hunter hears overrated chants from the crowd. Shedeur Sanders hears boos and daddy's son from the crowd, and they just turn up. So, like I said, Colorado's going to win that game big. But anyway, Notre Dame at Army, or Army at Notre Dame. Notre Dame is number 6 in the college football playoff rankings. If they lose a game to Army, you're done.
They're toast.
With that being said, Army controls their own destiny with a chance to go to the college football playoffs if they beat Notre Dame, which is hard. Because normally for a FBS program to say they have to play a naval or academy at all, a military institution, it's hard. It's hard to play military schools because you have to go through all the military like shit of traveling to go into their home stadium and play them. Well, this game is actually played at Yankee Stadium. Yankee Stadium. Yeah.
They're playing in New York.
They're playing in New York at Yankee Stadium.
All right. So I got Notre Dame.
Yeah, Notre Dame looks like they have everything they have to win this game.
56-0.
I think Notre Dame, without a doubt, should win this game. But I want to play villain.
Why do you want to play villain? Why?
Because if Army. Because if Army beats Notre Dame, the playoffs get better. Do you understand that? Because we're talking about one. I hate Boise State. Hate them.
Then that just put them in. Well, they win.
They still got if Army beats Notre Dame, they have a better argument than Boise State for the Group of 5 spot, because they will have to play Tulane in their conference championship game. Tulane's ranked in the top 25. Boise has to play Colorado State in their championship game, who's not ranked at all. So a win against Notre Dame and a win against a top 20 Tulane squad should be better than a loss to fucking Oregon.
See, my thing is,
I think it's disrespectful that a Power 4 school is about to not have a bye for a conference championship game because of a damn Mountain West school.
I don't understand how that's even possible. I keep telling you, I don't understand how that's possible. If Boise State makes it, yes, they should still make it if they win out. I don't think they deserve a bye. They don't. Play. Their strength of the schedule still plays a factor in if they should get a bye or not.
Here's my argument, or here's my gripe. Did they create this college football playoff and they said, hey, the first 5 spots are going to the top 5 highest rated champions. The top 4 of them will get a bye. Did they create that still thinking that the Pac-12 was going to be a thing? Because if so, then that makes a lot of sense. Because now there is a Power 5 argument, and there is 5 champions, and the 4 highest ranked ones out of all of them will get the bye. But I didn't know. Did they not know that the Pac-12 was leaving and that we are going to have a Mountain West or a AAC team that will be that 5th champion? And then the committee's slow or ignorant enough to put Boise State at 12, like they're better than 17, 18 other schools. And they're not better than South Carolina.
Definitely not.
They're not better. I don't even think they're better than Tulane.
Definitely not.
They're not better than Clemson. They're not better than Colorado. They're not better than Texas A&M. They're not better than SMU. They're not better than BYU. They might not even be better than Missouri.
So my thing is you're putting a Northwest team making the
What are you
playoffs.
doing?
Okay, that's pretty much that's incredible. But it's like they're ahead of an ACC school, Big 12 school, SEC, an American Conference school, and a Big 10. So I'm like, okay, that's fine.
And what
They made the
irritates me,
playoffs, but play in the first round. They don't deserve a first round bye. Them
Even-
first round buys should go to Power 4 schools because they have
Even-
a way tougher schedule than
Yeah.
Mountain West that don't play nobody.
even if you say, hey, Group of 5 champion gets a home bye or a home game in week 1, not bye. So even if you're saying no matter what, no matter where Boise State is ranked, because they're the 5th ranked champion, they get a home game no matter what. They will automatically become the 5th seed and host the first round playoff game. That makes more sense than telling me that the Big 12 champion is not going to have a bye because of Boise State and the Mountain West champion. What?
And the crazy thing is, they have Boise State projected to get a first round bye off the playoff rankings. So I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, what are we doing here? That makes zero sense to have a Mountain West team that plays absolutely nobody. The toughest team they played was Oregon.
Toughest team
you lost to them.
Toughest team they played was Oregon. They lost, and they kept it close. And that's the only reason why they're getting this much of a benefit of a doubt. Now, yes, they quite possibly have the best running back in college football. Yes, maybe, because I don't think Ashton Jeanty put up these numbers in the Power 4 conference because he has to play better defenses every single week.
Yeah,
but
he put some.
I'm not going to take away from what he does. I still think that he's the best running back in college football. If he was on Ohio State, Georgia, Colorado, Alabama, any other team, they get tremendously better at the run game because of him. But like, that's it. All right, this isn't basketball. He's not carrying that team to a national championship. Like, I can't foresee a path for Boise State to win a national championship. I can foresee a path for BYU or Colorado. I can foresee a path for Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, and any other team ranked in the top 12. But like Boise, I can't see it. I'm sorry. I feel like they can go and they can try their hardest. They can try as hard as they want. And they might even be up at halftime. But a Power 4 team in second half adjustments are going to kill Boise State. I've seen them struggle against UNLV. I've seen them struggle against San Diego State. I've seen them struggle against San Jose State.
And those are literally teams in their conference. We're talking about a Power 4.
They beat Washington State, who,
we're not talking about a Washington State.
But like, yeah, like come on. And then they lose to Oregon. They lose to Oregon by 3, and that's their gripe. Let me show you. Let me bring something up. And I know we're talking about Army and Notre Dame, and this is a lot about Boise. But Army to me has a better argument than Boise. Truthfully, now.
Even Army doesn't even have if they beat Notre Dame, that's literally the only argument that they have. That's literally the only one.
But like, if they lose to Notre Dame by 3, what's to keep them from saying, "Hey, we lost to a top 10 team by 3, just like y'all"?
But here's the difference between Army and Boise State. Boise State's ranked 12. If Army loses at 20, they're not even ranked anymore at that point.
My whole thing is, what was Boise State's rank at the game against Oregon?
They weren't ranked. They were literally unranked. They didn't get ranked until they played. I think it was until they beat Washington State 2 weeks after they played Oregon. That's when they were ranked.
So the committee said, and I'm about to go game by game, right? The committee said Boise State starts their season off against Georgia Southern and wins that game 56-45. Then they go play Oregon and they lose that game 37-24. Then they play Portland State and beat them 56-14. They play Washington State, beat them 45-24. Play Utah State, beat them 62-30. Yes, they should be ranked in the top 25 the way they're handling these opponents. I'm not saying that they're not a top 25 team.
But look at the opponents we're talking about here.
They beat Hawaii 28-7. Then they beat UNLV 29-24. They beat San Diego State 56-24. They beat Boise State, or not Boise State, sorry. They beat Nevada 28-21. Nevada 28-21. Nevada 28-20. We're talking like what are we talking about? Yeah, Georgia Southern beat Vandy, right? Is that who they beat?
I think so. No, I think they beat somebody else. Was it Vandy?
Who did Georgia Southern beat? They beat some top ranked opponent or some top opponent at the time. Maybe I'm lying. Maybe they didn't.
Nobody. Yeah, it's nobody.
Maybe I'm lying.
The only opponent they played like that was Ole Miss. But my thing is the community saw Boise State. They played Portland State and blew them out. And like, okay, so this week they're going to be ranked 25. And then proceed to beat everybody, but then they'll continue to move up, even struggling against UNLV. They're struggling against the first half against Nevada, San Diego State. So it's like, what are we talking about here? What are we doing? You're going to put a Group 5 up against, let's say, SEC opponent. They play Ole Miss, or they play Ohio State, or they play who else is in it? They play Miami. They play a Georgia, a Penn State, Indiana. They don't have a chance against none of those teams with one player. Because you take those teams right there have the ability to take Genty out the game entirely. You think Madison is going to be able to carry that whole entire team? No, not a soul.
I don't see it. But back to Army, who has what ranking wise, because they don't have an easy schedule. I mean, a tough schedule either. They have an easy ass schedule as well, but their offense is number one run offense in the nation. They have 5 NFL offensive linemen. They're gonna run the football. I think this would be more of a. You know how I was telling you, they have 5 offensive linemen that are going to get drafted to the NFL next year.
Oh, my God. I still think they get blown out regardless. I don't. Yeah, they might score 1 touchdown.
No, listen.
This is Notre Dame we're talking about here.
Listen. Know how we were talking about the Navy game, and I was like, this is gonna be a game of like who can possess the ball longer. Remember I was saying that? I think Army's more equipped than Navy to play this pound the rock game with Notre Dame. And again, Notre Dame can throw the ball better than the Naval Academy and that's why they won that game. And they can throw the ball better than Army, and that's probably why they're going to win this game because they can throw the ball.
We're forgetting about defense matters.
Defense matters. Yes, it does.
We're talking about a top 10 team going against an academy team that normally isn't ranked. It's the first time they've been ranked since like 1990 or 80 something.
This is the first time they've been undefeated leading up to this game.
So it's like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah, well, I'm also.
This still where the story is not happening.
I'm also going with another upset here. So I have Oklahoma with the upset, and I got Army with the upset. Army's going to be.
You are sick me.
Army's going to beat Notre Dame 24-21.
What did you drink some before you turn that camera on? You
No, I
had
just
to.
felt like being a menace
What
today.
what was in that cup? You
Just
had a bottle,
Pepsi.
didn't you?
Just Pepsi. Hey, listen, I'm going 24-21 Army. I think Army pulls off the upset. Oklahoma pick was a heart pick, but the Army pick is my true pick.
Yeah, you need to sleep on it. Send me your updated tomorrow before the game start. Not tomorrow, before Saturday, before the game start, because there ain't no way we're sitting here picking Army and Oklahoma. I can see Oklahoma because you a little biased. You don't want to face the truth. We're picking Army as well. It's insane. You're being diabolical at this point. My God, what are we doing here? Did you go to the doctor? You get your head checked?
Who?
You should have got your head checked. Instead of
Hey,
your finger,
listen.
you should have got your head checked.
Come on, Bryson Daly. I need you.
Stop it. Just stop it. You're calling on the wrong person.
I need you.
You calling on the wrong person.
I need you to be special, Bryson. Come on.
My God.
Plus, like, Notre Dame pisses me off. Like you're not in a conference. Get in a fucking conference.
But even with Notre Dame, when they play top opponents, they giving them a matchup though. Even when they're playing ranked opponents,
like,
they're
no
giving them a matchup.
no one's questioning their ability to compete at the top. But like, come on, bro. Get in a conference. Win a conference championship. Play a gauntlet. You don't have a gauntlet.
So if Notre Dame loses this week, I'm going to be so upset.
That is our picks for this week's college football slate of games. Yes, sir.
Notre Dame, Notre Dame team that we're talking about that beat Texas A&M, and you're choosing Army over them. It's diabolical.
Just to recap my picks for today, I got Ohio State beating Indiana. I think I said 31-28. I got Kentucky losing to Texas. 31-15 or 28-15. I got Oklahoma beating Alabama 31-28. I got BYU beating Arizona State 17-14. Got Colorado beating Kansas 42-21. And I got Army upsetting Notre Dame in Yankee Stadium.
I mean, whatever you smoking,
Well, it says 24-21.
Whatever you smoking, whatever you drinking, I need that because that's crazy. There's 4 games we got to keep a lookout on because we kind of went separate on the whole entire time. BYU, Arizona State. I don't even know why we got to do this. Notre Dame and Army. Indiana, Ohio State. You already know we watching Bama. Gonna whoop up on the Sooners.
Whoop up crazy.
Whoop up on. Y'all don't have an offense. You don't have an offense. You're not going to compete.
We don't have an offense.
Look, I'm going to predict it. Jackson Arnold's going to throw terrible. He's going to throw about 4 picks. Your run game is not going to happen. So it's like your offense is going to stall the entire time. We're going to have Ty Simpson come in. He's going to throw about 2 touchdowns as well. Like, what are we talking about? Kendrick Hall might actually get a touchdown. I don't know when's the last time he had a touchdown. He might get one this week. So what are we talking about?
You're disrespecting us.
Because y'all not competing. Y'all failed me this year. I thought y'all was going to come in here. You was ranked, and then you're not ranked no more. Now you look like potatoes.
We're trying. We are trying. And if you guys could try, hit that like and comment, subscribe to the channel, turn on those notifications so that you don't miss when we drop new content. We will be back tomorrow with, sorry, not tomorrow. What am I saying?
Saturday.
We'll be back Sunday was when you guys will be able to watch that review episode. After that great slate of games we got this week. A lot of teams still active in the playoff hunt. still active. Who would have thought? Who would have thought 2 weeks left in the season we have teams still fighting for a chance to go to the playoffs? Also, before I leave, all you SEC coaches complaining that you got to play a hard schedule and you have to win games to make the college football playoffs. Well, duh. Because if it was a 14 playoff, all of you guys would be at home already.
You say FCS?
SEC.
Oh, SEC. All right.
So Lane Kiffin, Kirby Smart, stop crying. Stop politicking in media. Stop complaining that the SEC is some type of gauntlet. Well, guess what? Everyone has to play conference games.
No. What we're not gonna do is sit here and bash the SEC like when it's not the toughest conference in
We're
in
not.
the world.
We don't know. We don't know.
How?
We don't know.
Y'all have literally 2 deciding schools in other conferences besides the SEC. The SEC is the only school that has different conference.
The SEC is committee bias. That's why Missouri can lose a game ranked 23 in the college football playoff rankings and then drop a new college football playoff rankings and still be 23.
That's because look at the schedule. We're talking about the strength of the schedule. Yes, we're playing. You have 6 different SEC teams that could possibly make the playoffs because that's how good they are. What are we talking about?
And Missouri only played like 2 of them.
It's the best of the best.
Stop it.
When Alabama put belt to ass on Oklahoma this week, you'll understand. It's a different breed over there.
Right.
It's different.
Listen. I don't care what you say. You tell me if Georgia or Alabama will be making a college football playoff with 2 losses last year.
Belt to ass.
Listen, it isn't my fault that your conference is competitive and you lose to teams that you're not supposed to lose to, and now you're crying because you might get left out of a college football playoff of 12 teams.
But what are we talking about here? They're the hardest place they're the toughest place to play for a reason. It's
and
not
then,
just teams.
He has the audacity. He has audacity, which is crazy, by the way, because last year, right, or the last 2 seasons, Georgia's schedule been weak. Georgia's schedule been weaker than my 5-year-old son. Weak.
We're not even talking about them though, because we know Georgia school, the schedule's always been weak. I've always
but my point is, Georgia got to a SEC championship game and lost to Alabama and got left out of a college football playoff. Aren't they glad that they don't have to be perfect to make a playoff anymore? You just have to be better than 2 losses.
I would definitely be happy I ain't got to play Bama every other year damn near every year, because that's the only 2 teams that be making it. I would just be happy about that because you actually have a chance in probably securing the SEC championship and making the playoffs at the same time, instead of just hoping that you have some type of upsets to the point where it's like, okay, we lost, but then we have a bunch of upsets in the other schedules as well. So now that still puts us in a chance of making the playoffs by the committee. I'm not leaving my faith in the committee because they suck.
And then Kirby Smart has the audacity, bro, to say, well, winning an SEC championship is as important, if not more important to me than winning a college football national championship.
All right. It's time to go to sleep at that point.
Why are you politicking about trying to make the college football playoffs if you just care about winning the SEC championship? Win the fucking SEC then! Because if that was more important to you than winning a national championship, then guess what? Guess what? You would have took that game against Alabama, that game against Ole Miss, seriously. And you would not have let one of those teams beat you because you knew it was a chance to go to the SEC championship on the line. No, you don't care about the SEC championship. You only care about the college football playoffs and where you're ranked and where you're seated in that. That's why when you lost to Ole Miss and they put you at 11 and you were on the outside looking into the college football playoff bracket, you went up on there crying to the fucking media talking about I don't know what they're looking at. They're looking at you lose. It doesn't matter that it's Ole Miss and they're a top 10 defense and a top 10 offense. It doesn't. What matters is Georgia, you're Georgia. And you're supposed to win those games.
They're just upset the fact that Miami is ranked ahead of them. Not be ranked that high no more. Just off of they just.
I'm done with the SEC bias. Listen, you play who's on your schedule and you win. It is what it is. Hardest schedule, easiest schedule. Because this year you have the hardest schedule. Last 2 years you had the easiest schedule. This year Indiana's schedule is easy. Next year Indiana's schedule could be hard. And I don't want to hear their ass complain about strength of schedule next year, just like I don't want to hear your ass complain this year. Or next year when your schedule's easy. Because they're in the Big Ten. You're in the SEC. Be Missouri. Fuck it. If you're going to cry about losing to Ole Miss, just be Missouri and play fucking Pee-wee schools in the back end of the SEC. Go ahead. Go ahead. I hate that shit. You fucking crybaby. You have 2 losses. That's why you're ranked 11. You have 2 losses, and the teams that you lost to are ranked ahead of you. As they should be. Like, oh my God. And Miami has 1 loss to Georgia Tech. And I get it. It's the fucking Georgia Tech. But Miami's only loss. Like, you can't, just like Georgia winning a close game to Kentucky, you can't punish Miami for beating Cal or beating Virginia Tech. They did it. You want to be mad? Be mad at Texas being ranked number 3 when you whooped their ass at home. That's what I would be up there talking about. I wouldn't be talking about why I don't know what the committee's looking at. Well, the committee is biased. They only care about what teams that get in can make them the most money.
And we got Boise State getting the first round bye.
On that note, we're going to get up out of here because that's a whole nother rant for another day. Like I said, leave a like, comment, subscribe. If you're an SEC fan and you didn't like what I said about the SEC, well, the truth is the truth. Like, everyone's talking about how bad the 12-team college football playoff is because we get a group of 5 school in and a Big 12 school in. And I think it's better that way. And quite frankly, how are you going to cry this year but be okay with how the playoffs were prior? Because Tennessee wouldn't have had a chance if it was a 4-team. Georgia, sorry, but a loss to Alabama would have made you go home. You wouldn't have been a playoff team if it was a 4-team playoff. It would be Oregon, the winner of this Ohio State-Indiana game, and they probably would have fucking had Texas. Would you look at that?
You see championship and lose.
Would you look at that? So you should be happy, Georgia, Kirby Smart. You should be happy it's the 12-team playoff because it doesn't matter what the committee looks at. If you win 2 or more games, if you only lose 2 or less games, you're making it. That's it. Don't lose 3 games. I could have told you that in the preseason. If you want to make the college football playoffs, don't lose 3 games. That goes for everybody in every conference. 10 wins is minimum. We're starting to see it this year. They're going to be so mad when there's finally a year where a team with 3 losses wins their conference championship and gets a bid. Oh, they're going to be so mad.
It's going to happen.
They're going to be so mad. Oh, you think Kirby Smart's throwing his little panties in a bunch now? Oh, just imagine. Just imagine when. Oh, who can I name?
We had 2 losses and we still made the playoffs with beating Georgia in SEC championship. It's gonna happen.
Like, it literally, like, and people are gonna hate me. But like, I don't care. There's no way that you're going to complain about this year when you have 2 losses because your schedule is hard, but you're still a playoff team. Like, you still have a chance to make the playoffs. You're ranked, what, 10? You're in. You win out, you're in.
Yeah,
Back in the past, you don't make it with 2 losses. If you're not in your conference championship game, you're not even considered. There's only been a couple instances ever where a conference championship loser has made the playoffs. And I think that was Alabama and Georgia, right? Because Alabama beat Georgia, or Georgia beat Alabama, but they still made the playoffs and they rematched in the playoffs and it was a different outcome. That was the only time. Other than that, you make it to the conference championship game, you lose, you go home. Nobody cares that you made it, especially if you make it to the conference championship game on a tiebreaker, because everyone in the SEC has 2 losses. So if you make it to a conference championship game on a tiebreaker and you lose, the other 2-loss teams will probably think to themselves, we would have won that game. And the committee can't literally argue in your favor because it's a tiebreaker. You all have the same record. So good luck. Good luck, SEC. I'm happy that you're struggling because I know only a few Big 12 know there's only one team. Big 10, they know only 2 teams is getting in, maybe 3. ACC, they know only one team is getting in. But the SEC is crying about 5 teams having an option, a bid. All right. That's my rant. Like I said, like, comment, and subscribe. We'll be back with review on Sunday. We love and appreciate y'all. Thank you for tuning in. Anything to add?
Oh, man, I said everything I already did. I got more to say after these games happen.
Yep. We'll catch you guys on the next episode. Boomer sooner.